Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be going over why being a loan officer is actually better than being a real estate agent. So contrary to popular belief, being a real estate agent is not the only way you can make thousands and thousands of dollars in real estate. The other great career within the real estate industry is actually being a mortgage loan officer, where you can make just as much or even more money than a real estate agent. So in this video, I thought it'd be interesting to go over the 6 reasons why being a loan officer is actually better than being a real estate agent. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, number 1 is that there's less competition. And that's because there are millions, literally millions and millions of real estate agents out there. I went online, I did some research, and there's about 3 million licensed real estate agents in the US. That's a lot, at least compared to loan officers. I also did my same research, and there's about 300,000 licensed loan officers in the US. So you can see for every 6 real estate agents, there's just 1 loan officer. So essentially every loan officer can work with 6 agents. And if 6 agents are closing 1 deal every month, that's 6 deals every month for that loan officer. Now we'll talk more about income later in this video, but that's a lot of money that you're gonna be making from those 6 deals just by working with those 6 agents as a loan officer, and they're out there, right? So this is another great pro to being a loan officer, is that you're not gonna have all this competition. I'm sure even you in your life, you know a few real estate agents. You probably have a few in your family, a few in college that you know about, maybe some coworkers that have their license. But how many loan officers do you know? Not many. At least myself growing up, I didn't know any loan officers. So this is one advantage that you're gonna have as being a loan officer, is that there's very, very few of us. All right, number 2 is that you can work 100% remotely. And the reason I'm saying 100% is because for the most part, you can also work remotely as a real estate agent. But when you're taking your clients to show homes, when you're going out to a listing appointment, for the most part, you need to go look at the property. You need to go show properties. You need to take your clients to look at properties, etc. Whereas a loan officer, I mean, there'll be weeks where I'm just in my office, I'm just in my room at my home office, technology, and then I call the client or I email the client, hey, I need this XYZ. So as a loan officer, you can completely be virtual. Now, of course, there are going to be some clients that want to see you in person, that want to do in-person consultations. For example, every now and then I'll have a client, maybe like 4 or 5 a month, that want to do an in-person consultation. So in that case, you wouldn't be able to, but I'm sure you can figure something out if you want to build your business like that. But I also know loan officers that are completely virtual, where they live overseas, you guys. Like, they're like traveling the world, living overseas. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that if you're brand new. If you can make it work, you can make it work. I'm not saying you can't, give it a shot. But there's no reason you can't be in Greece and still doing loans in the US. It's completely possible. So if you're looking for a career like that, where you can be overseas, working from home, maybe even on an airplane, and doing loans, doing your work, this is a great opportunity for you. All right, number 3 are the startup costs. So as a loan officer and a real estate agent, when it comes to licensing, they're pretty similar. You're gonna spend about $300 to $500 in getting your license, somewhere around that ballpark. And by the way, if you are looking to become a loan officer, I have partnered up with OnCourse. They're the company I use to get my own license, and they are offering the Enrique and Greatness family 20% off your purchase. So link down below, link in the comment section if you want to get your license. Take advantage of that discount code so you can also have lower startup costs. And by the way, if you do end up getting your pre-licensing education with OnCourse, send me a picture of your receipt or send me an email, and I'll get you a special discount code for my online store, where I have a bronze package, a silver package, and a gold package. In the future, I'll also be launching a diamond and a platinum package on coaching and materials to help you in your business. It's big savings, you guys, 20% off just for you guys that get your pre-licensing education with OnCourse. So again, when it comes to licensing as a real estate agent or a loan officer, it's pretty much the same, but where it's different is once you start the business. As a loan officer, you really just need a computer. You need a computer. If you want to get business cards, you can get them. If you want to get a suit, you can get a suit. But like I mentioned, if you're going to be working from home, if you're going to be, virtual, you really just need a laptop. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Whereas as a real estate agent, you need to get business cards because you're more out there prospecting, right? You need to get your signs for your open houses. If you get a listing, you need to hire a professional photographer. If you're taking out your buyers, that's gas. So it's a lot less expensive as a loan officer because you're just sitting at your computer the entire time. Of course, I'm not saying to not invest in your business. Eventually, I do recommend, getting a suit, getting nice attire, getting marketing materials like for my website, all that good stuff. You need to invest in your business, but As a real estate agent, there's a lot more upfront costs associated compared to a loan officer. All right, number 4 is that as a loan officer, you're working more on volume. What does that mean? Well, the typical real estate agent will close anywhere from maybe 2 to 5 deals if they're a top producer, 2 to 5 deals a month. That's an average. Whereas a loan officer, you might do 15 to 30 deals. I've heard of loan officers doing about way more than that, but anywhere from 15 to 30 deals a month. So that's way, way, way more than a real estate agent. And that's because, again, we're just sitting behind a computer. And eventually you can get an assistant, you can get multiple processors, you can get a team to support you. And that team doesn't have to be, in your office. They can be completely virtual. There's loan officers where their assistants, their processors are all virtual. At my previous company at the direct lender, I never ever met my processor. She was virtual. So there's a lot more volume that you can work as a loan officer, whereas a real estate agent, you only have 2 days of the weekend, right? So if your clients are 9 to 5ers and they want to go look at properties on the weekend, you can't show 30 families properties on a Saturday and a Sunday. It's just impossible, right? Of course, you can build out your team, but the point here is you can work more volume as a loan officer compared to a real estate agent and potentially make more money because of that. Now, because we are talking about income, you're probably wondering, well, hey, how do they get paid? They're very different. As a real estate agent, you're getting paid on the purchase price. So if the home sells for $500,000, you're getting anywhere from 2 to 6% of that home. Whereas a loan officer, we're getting paid off of the loan amount. So if the loan amount is, let's say for that $500,000 home, just $400,000, we're getting anywhere from 1 to 2.5% of those $400,000. So you can say, well, Enrique, the real estate agent is making more money per deal. Yes, that's true because they're getting paid off the purchase price. But again, still, you can do more volume as a loan officer compared to a real estate agent, right? They can maybe get 5 to 10 deals at most by themselves, where I know plenty of loan officers doing 20 to 50 deals a month with a strong team because it's all over the computer. It's not being out there on the field. All right, number 5 is that as a loan officer, you are the expert. What do I mean by this? Well, most people, when they go to buy real estate, they're not buying it cash. They're buying it with a loan. And that means they need a loan officer. And loans are not simple, you guys. Part of the reason why there's so many real estate agents, 3 million of them, and only 300,000 loan officers is because it's not easy being a loan officer. It's not easy. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not easy being a real estate agent. Being a real estate agent is very, 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 very difficult, but it's still harder to be a loan officer because the banks, the guidelines, the restrictions are always changing, right? A client may one day, have a job, the next day they quit. You get them pre-approved and the next thing they buy XYZ. And then you can't do the loan and then it's your fault. They blame you. So it's very, very tricky to be a loan officer. It's very difficult. And that's why I see it as a pro, because you're the expert. When the client has a question, for the most part, they're gonna go to you. Hey, Enrique, what do I do? For the real estate agent, they're also gonna have questions, but for you, they're gonna treat you a little bit different because they're like, yo, Enrique's working, the tough stuff, the numbers, my mortgage payment, my interest rate, my cash to close. Those are actualities, right? They're not really malleable. The cash to close, the money that you need, a lot of emotion can go into that. Emotion goes into the property as well, but it's different with money, right? Everyone gets sensitive, everyone gets scared with money, and you're the person working and handling the money. Also, when you're at parties, when you're with friends, and they're like, hey, I want to buy a house, you can help them. You can get them answers. You can talk about programs. If I was a real estate agent and someone asked me, how do I get a house? I would be like, I'll connect you with my loan officer. Oh, I think it's like this. Oh, I think it's like that. Now, that doesn't mean that as a real estate agent, you're not going to know how to get a house. But for the most part, you can go deeper. You can provide more information, go deeper into the context of how to buy a home if you're a loan officer. And that's why I think it's a pro to be a loan officer, because you are the expert. All right, number 6 are refinances. So as a loan officer, you're going to work purchases, meaning you're going to help clients buy real estate, purchase real estate. And on the other hand, you'll help people get refinances or refinance their mortgage. So essentially add a new loan to an existing property. So they're not really buying a house. Now, the nice thing about refinances is that for the most part, guys, they're pretty easy. Also, if you're helping them save money, the deal pitches itself. For example, in 2020, when the refi boom happened and rates were like 2%, 1%, if you had a 7% and I told you I can get you a 2%, that's all I need to say. I don't need to pitch you. I don't need to convince you. I don't need to sell you. I don't need to be a salesman. I don't need to have a great pitch. I'm like, hey, you're about to save $1,000. And you're like, let's do it. That's it, right? So that's the nice thing about refinances is that you're talking about saving people money. And when they can see that the numbers make sense, that's all that needs to make sense. You don't need to sell them. You don't need to pitch them. You don't need to be a salesman, right? So another thing is, if you're not a great salesman, and this is kind of a bonus that I'm just thinking about right now, is you need to be less of a salesman as a loan officer than as a real estate agent. As a real estate agent, you need to be a really good salesman. You need to have a strong pitch. You need to handle objections. Whereas as a loan officer, not that you don't need it, but you're working with numbers, right? You're working with numbers, so the numbers are what they are. And the numbers will sell themselves for the most part, or you can help the client understand the numbers. And when we do have a refi boom, if we have one in the future, it's easy business for the most part. Now, that doesn't mean that you can come in the business and just do refinances, because that's what a lot of people did when the refi boom happened, right? Everyone became a loan officer, and then refinances dried out and everyone started leaving the businesses. Companies were dying, mortgage companies. So you also don't want to rely on refinances. That's not what I'm saying. You want to build your business on purchases, and then when refinances come, they come. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you're looking for a great company to work for, reach out to me. We are hiring. And again, use that discount code down below with OnCourse for 20% off. And then I'll also provide you guys another 20% off my packages if you use that discount code. So see you for the next one. Be great.